Welcome back, everyone, to the channel. Today I got something special for you all. So I was rummaging through all my stuff earlier. And I came up with these. Now, the idea I had is that why don't I try to use these little kitty brushes and possibly some kitty paint to paint or try to paint something decent. So what I think I'm going to do in a little bit is I'm going to go to the store, pick up some more of these and some kitty paints. I'm not going to use these ones because these are my normal ones that I always use for my normal paintings, like the blue one, well, my like dabbing, that splotchy stuff. But I'm going to go do that and we're going to see what we can do. Alrighty, and here we are, the place with all the paint supplies for not that expensive. Let's go find parking. Oh. Let's turn that off. Let's get out of here. Let's go get the stuff with you. And we enter. It's off to the craft style, somewhere in that direction. Alright, here we are. Now we need to find what we're looking for. So we need... that might work. Got paint. And now we need brushes. That's too many. Oh, it was hiding. This'll work. Now we have our paint and our paint brushes. Let's go. Off to the registers. If your speed check out. Here we go. Alrighty. We got our little bag of goodies. We're gonna go home. See what we can come up with all this stuff. Onward and outward. See? It says exit. We're leaving. Oh, how I get when I have too much coffee in my system. So in total, I bought 3 items. Y'all didn't see one of them, but the total price is like $3.49 or something for the 2 items y'all saw me buy. I bought more 8x10s because I'm out of them and I needed more, and they're not for this video, so don't worry about it. Alright, so now we have our brushes and our paint. So I think we need to set some ground rules here. I think, number 1, you can only use kitty paint brushes. Number 2, you can only use kitty paint. You can modify the brushes however you want, in this case using thread or glue or tape. And you can use, that's pretty much it for that. And then the only other rule is you can use whatever size canvas you want. I'm going to be using an 8x10, not the ones I just bought, but some older version I have over there somewhere. But yeah, I'm going to open these and start modifying them. I'm going to take one of them, turn them into like a line brush if I can. Another one, try to turn it into like a flat brush or a fan brush. And the rest of them, I'll try to figure out how to like clump them together. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these yellow ones and turn it into the flat brush or fan brush. Just got to figure out how to clamp it. Alright, I think I'll take one of these red ones and cut it with like scissors and figure out how to keep it really tight and then use it like the line brush. And then the rest of them just, I guess, clump together. I don't know, this ridge kind of makes it harder for the pieces to all come together. But maybe if I like tape this end or something, they'll all just kind of be squished together like that. I don't know. We'll see. Come on. That'll work better. Alright, so now we have our brushes done, our paint ready, we got our canvas all mocked up so it doesn't make my table messy. So now we just gotta figure out what to paint. I think I'm gonna go look at some reference photos and figure out what I want to go off of. Okay, so basically what I decided to do is try to paint, well, basically just something really simple. A field of like flowers, maybe some daisies or something, just a blue sky. It's middle of summer or something, with a little oak tree in the background. Something I think that these brushes could handle. I don't like this paint, honestly. I mean, it worked in the end. You'll see that when you get to the end of the video, but it is very watered down. It fades, you know, as soon as you put it on the canvas or on a piece of paper, for that matter. It's difficult to work with. I'll just say that. But this was a fun challenge. I think it's funny how in the end, like, I created 3 brushes, and yet the big one, or the big clumped up one, is the one that did the majority of the work for this entire painting. Like, the other 2 come into play, but it's really the big clumped together round-ish brush that did most of the work. And I really had to layer on this white to make these clouds look a little bit better, because this, like I said before, like as soon as you put any of this paint on a canvas or a paper, it just absorbs into it and then just fades away. You know, it's almost like there's very little pigment in it. I mean, when you look at the little jars there, yeah, you got color and it looks like there's a lot there, but when you compare it to the paints that I usually use, this stuff is, well, you gotta layer it up in order to make it appear the way you want it to. Though for like painting the clouds and later the tree and the flowers you'll see, this big brush really did work well, because it's like a round brush, but it's also like weirdly stiff and separated, so that way you can kind of get different textures in there, different little globs of paint on there that you can either smear around or just leave, and they make like more cloud-like textures. Like they're, you know, like when you look at a cloud, they're kind of like, it's not just a flat white. It's I mean, there's a 3D object, so some places are gonna be lighter, some places are gonna be darker, some things are gonna stand out a little bit more, and that brush actually worked fairly well for making these clouds. They're not the best looking, obviously, but for what it is and what I'm using, it worked out pretty well. In here I was just adding a base of black and that weird bright green color you see, just to kind of give the ground a base color to go off of. That would help with shadows and a little bit more depth for the grass I'm going to put in later. And here I was just scraping the paintbrush up so that way it kind of gives a little bit more of a grass effect for all that darker paint. All it really did was just, you know, create highlights. You can scrape off a little bit of paint here and there, but it helps to give some definition to what you're painting. And then here I was just adding that weird green color and just upward strokes, and then just layer it back and forth with more of that green, and then eventually just straight yellow to try to give it a brighter green effect. Because the paint likes to fade, you'll have yellow on top of green and then this darker color, but it all just kind of fades towards a more just neutral green. And if anyone's looking to try to paint like a field like this, just all you gotta do is watch the video. It shows you how. All you're doing is taking a brush like this. If you're gonna use like not Kiddie brushes, you take like a 2-inch brush, maybe a 3-inch brush at the most, and you just dip the ends of the bristles in paint and just pull them up across the canvas. It gives you that random streak look, and it works really well for painting grass. And one of the reasons I decided to go with this concept for the painting is that anywhere in America, as long as you're in, like, I guess the middle of America, well, I wouldn't say just that, but you can pretty much see this anywhere in America, like a field of daisies and flowers and a random tree, you know, just in the distance with white clouds. So I figured it would be easy. It was a really good test to use these Kiddie paints and Kiddie brushes, because this is something that you could see anywhere. And if you're trying to add in features after you've already done something like grass, you need to make sure you go back through and then repaint over a feature that's farther away. So all I did was just take a little bit of paint and just run it up around the base of the tree so that it kind of looked like there was grass standing in front of it. And just make sure when you're painting this, you're painting any object that stands out, make sure you put a shadow in there if, you know, there's a shadow to be had. And then again, like I said before, you'll have to use more paint to paint up to try to cover, like right here. You're trying to give that, you know, that realistic 3D effect, like there's grass in front of the shadow, so it's not just a tree sitting on grass. Yeah. And here, I'm just dabbing in all the little daisies. I'm not doing any definition for the flowers because you don't need any. It's just white and yellow paint. And to add to the 3D effect, I made sure that the flowers, the closer to you, the bigger they were, and the farther away they were, the smaller they were. So I just used more paint towards the front and then just did lighter little dabbing strokes, I guess is what you call it, towards the back. So that way it looks like it fades away from the foreground to the background, you know, in like a gradient. Here I need to add a little bit more white. It just doesn't, it looked too plain back there. Like those clouds or that white fade out was just too, it just looked, yeah, it looked too plain. So doing this just adds the impression that there are more clouds in the distance back there. I had been debating the entire time, do I want to do a white trim around this or just leave it? So I have eventually decided a white trim, which is what I probably should have just set up for before I even started painting. Just put some masking tape down around the edges so that way I didn't have to do this. But one of the things I found with the masking tape I have is that if I put the masking tape down beforehand, paint always gets underneath the edge. And if I do it like this, yeah, I'm painting over part of the painting and kind of doing extra work, but the lines are crisper. I don't have to go back through and fix them so much. So I don't know, maybe I just need to get better tape, but this way seems to work pretty well. Alright, I'd say that doesn't look too bad for Kiddie paints, Kiddie brushes. The next thing I need to do is I have to sign it, but I'm not going to use these brushes because these ones suck for that. And signing is not the same thing as painting. So, I'm going to use one of my liner brushes. I'm still going to use this paint though. All right, so there we have it. Definitely not the best signature I've ever done, but this paint is not nice to work with. I'll just say that. Very watered down. You know, when it dries, it becomes very transparent. So it put on a lot of layers. But all in all, I'd say not too bad for Kiddie paints and Kiddie brushes. So Thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and share all that. It helps me out, helps me keep the wife happy, because all this is for her. Stay tuned for the next video, because I got more things coming up that I think you'll like. So thank you all for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.